Wouldn't it be cool if you can bridge NFTs to all kind of applications without being a coder? For example, if you wanted to share everything in a Dropbox folder to a bunch of other people within an NFT community, or you wanted some way to connect your wallet to your work email or spreadsheets, or just anything that you can possibly think of. Well, today we're going to discuss what Crossmint integration with Zappier means for thousands of applications. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So if you're not familiar with what Crossmint or Zappier is, I think that is a good place to start. So Crossmint is a custodial wallet that allows people to mint NFTs, signing up with that wallet, just using an email address, and they could pay for it with their credit card, their debit card, and so forth. They do not need to have any kind of crypto. However, they give you the option to then export those into a MetaMask or your Phantom wallet or whichever wallet that you do choose to have. But it is a great starting point, a great launch point for people who are not familiar with ETH or Sol and crypto exchanges and all that stuff. They just know debit card, they see something they like, they go and purchase it. Well, Crossmint is a great starting point. Now, Zappier, if you're in the corporate world or if you're in the world of designing websites and so forth, that you know Zappier is something that connects different applications that aren't native to each other. So for example, let's just say that you have your email list and you have your e-commerce site and you want to somehow connect your sales with your email list. So I'll give you a perfect example of how this was done incorrectly and how something like Zappier could help with that. So the other day I signed up and I got a ticket for one of these NFT events. Well, then I started to get a whole bunch of emails for sales that were coming up for that event. Now, I already purchased it at that lower price, but I kept getting the emails. So what this means that their list was not separated out correctly or segmented out, meaning that there is one group or one bucket, if you will, of the people that already bought their tickets, so they won't get any further emails about, hey, come buy your ticket. Well, a lot of the times the reason why this happens is because there's no connection between the platform that is selling the tickets and the email lists on whatever email hosting service website it is. So either A, someone has to manually go in and then tag each of those purchasers and say, yes, they've already purchased and put a purchase tag on them, or you'd use some sort of bridge, some sort of API to connect the two of them together. Now, the case of Zappier, what they would do is pull the information from the sales website and then import it into the email list, letting it know. So no one has to manually do that. It just bridges two applications, two platforms that normally wouldn't connect with each other, and it is basically the middle ground. So APIs, that's what they do. Pull data from one place and put it into another. So you're familiar with this sort of thing if you are a marketer, anyone who has a website, has some sort of e-commerce and so forth, just knowing that sometimes you might have 10, 15 different applications. They're pulling data, things are stored all over the place, and it could be a total mess. Unlike if you have the big budgets of some of these huge tech companies with a tech team, you have your own servers, everything is built in-house. Well, independent creators, freelancers, salespeople online, whatever you want to say, we are duct taping a whole bunch of software together, and something like Zappier bridges everything together. So the cool thing with this is Zappier, at the point of recording this, has over 5,000 apps that it directly integrates in. You don't need to code anything. You just basically plug any of those 5,000 apps in together. So you can have multiple steps. So for example, let's say someone makes sales for a particular event, and then you want to tag that person in the email list, but then you want to invite them to a Zoom call before the event kicks off, and then you want to send them over to your Shopify to buy some t-shirts. In addition to that, you want to give them access to an exclusive playlist on Spotify. Well, you can actually use Zappier to tie all these things together, and everything is linked. So you can easily tell, well, which person did each of these steps and so forth. Well, Zappier does all that without you having to code it. Now, the Crossmint integration with Zappier does some very interesting things, because Crossmint, as I said, is that custodial wallet, has all that information. You can have your NFTs and everything in it. And then it allows you to actually make a bridge to any of those 5,000 applications, which just opens up the world. Anything that you could possibly imagine. I mean, if you just go to Zappier and look at the list of applications that this works with, Slack, Zoom, Google Documents, you name it, 5,000, that is a lot of applications, web apps that you can just plug into, don't need to be a coder, just set them up step by step by step, and then you can get it to do all sorts of crazy things. So we could talk about connecting a wallet to a Slack channel. Rather than locking off certain information on the web with a password, you can token gate it with an NFT. You can do things cross-chain. So let's just say you want to collab between various holders. One NFT happens to be on ETH, the other one happens to be on Sol, but they're both connected to this Crossmint account. Well, you can use Zappier to bridge everything together to do different things. So why am I even bringing this up? Well, it really shows the future applications of API, which, by the way, I should say is Application Programming Interface. That's what API stands for. But the easiest way to think of it is a bridge. Two things that shouldn't work together. It's connecting them together and pulling the data. So I can think of countless ways where API could actually play in a part with fans, interacting with content, joining email lists, making purchases, and so forth, in ways that you could never really do with just a MetaMask wallet or just knowing who holds these tokens and what have you. So integrating all this stuff, because it takes a lot, and I mean a lot of data to properly run a business, know your customers, and so forth. And if they're willingly opting into all of these things, sharing their email list, their wallet address, let's say even their phone number and everything, well, rather than having a team of 100 people sifting through all that stuff, connecting it all together in some sort of spreadsheet, a project or a company could have something like Zappier bridging all of that together. I mean, there is always the option to custom code and build your own thing. However, not a lot of firms have that sort of budget or that technical know-how and what have you. So let's say for a couple $100 a month, you could be pulling information from thousands of applications and thousands of users and bridging it all together. I think that is invaluable for businesses. So Web 2 lines and Web 3 lines are getting blurred even more than they ever were. And honestly, I think that is an amazing thing. Going forward, I think API integration into wallets and NFTs could be key for more businesses coming into the space. But I would love to know, what sort of integrations would you love to see? Please feel free to reach out to me at Tropic Vibes on Twitter. Any ideas that you do have, or using the contact information in the show notes. I would love to continue this discussion. But as usual, I want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.